Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Just Talking About Films podcast. It has been a while. We've been away for a while doing different things, but we wanted to come back today with our 2022 roundup. My name is Ian Sargentson.
My name's Luke Taylor, and it's great to be back with you. Yes, we're sorry that it's been so long since we last did a podcast. There's been a lot going on, I guess. I'm just trying to look. I wonder when our last one was. Hold on 1 second. I'll have this somewhere. Our last one was 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Yeah, 3 months ago was our last one.
Wow, 3 months. I don't know what you've all been doing in that 3 months. I mean, certainly not harassing us about where the podcast has gone, but I just take it that you were just trying to show some understanding. So if you are out there and you are listening and you are glad we're back, just please let us know.
Yes.
So be a little bit encouraged.
It'd be good to know. We had Chris Wadeson on the last time. That's the last one we did.
Oh, was that the last one we did? That was a very good one as well with Chris on. Enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. We talked about films, which movies make us really emotional.
Yeah.
And it turned out all of them.
Yeah, we've been crying since.
So just some of the reasons why we've not met is I've been moving house, so there's been a large portion of the time I haven't had internet, and just had the chaos of that. And you've had a lot going on as well, Ian, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just Luke moved house. My wife went back to work, so we were just navigating childcare between us, how we do that, and it's a bit more pressure on time. And then most of you will know that what Luke and I do for a living. We both lead churches, and the build up to Christmas, anywhere from just before Remembrance Sunday, really, and then in the build up to Christmas, it's chaos, all organised and well placed chaos, but there's just so much going on and so much to plan. So we've probably both got a bit caught up in that, as well as the things that I say, childcare and Luke moving house and waiting for his internet provider and stuff. So, but here we are, early January, reviewing 2022 and some of the best films from that year.
And some of the worst films of that year.
Yeah, well, some of the ones that we perceive, or in our opinion, were. But when I first was looking at this, I was thinking it wasn't really a stellar year. But as I looked more, there was a lot more films that I enjoyed. And I think for me, and I've said it before, that I used to go to the cinema quite a lot. But since Victor's been born and since the things which I just don't get to, so I get out to the cinema very few times. I think I went twice in the whole of 2022. And that was to see two films that I'll mention in. I think, yeah, twice. Whereas I know you go pretty much weekly, if not more.
Try and keep fairly regular, yeah. Although, with moving house, it has been a little bit less regular. But there's been some good films this year. There's been some really
I thought there wasn't many good ones. I can only think of three, and then there's a few others that have come to mind now, and some of them were straight to streaming, I think, as well. So
yeah, it has been a year where streaming seems to have. A lot of people relied on streaming during the pandemic and the year after, but now it seems streaming's a little bit more coming into its own and has an idea of what it wants to be. They're producing some good stuff now.
Yeah. And I think it's always been the case that, I don't know, this might be a hugely controversial statement, I don't know. But I think it's always been the case that film has been used to convey a message. I mean, I think there was a few films that would do that. I just think more and more now, in the political climate we're in, there's a lot more films that are trying to I want to say preach, but trying to bring a message to the front, an important message, a powerful message to the front of things. And it's just an observation I made through a lot of the films in 2022 that they were all, you could clearly see what their the key message was for society rather than just for pure entertainment.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a good point.
Well, I just think with the emergence of social media and say the more polarized political climate, I think, around the world, and more people sharing their opinions publicly. I think filmmakers are doing the same.
Yeah.
That,
I think also, I mean, certainly for the last 10 years or whatever, the predominant thing has been Marvel movies.
yeah,
And I don't know if there's been less of them this year. Maybe there has, but they've certainly had less impact this year. And it feels like we might be emerging out from under the shadow of that. And I've just looked at my list. I mean, there's some of them are franchise films, but there's a lot more variety in that list than there has been perhaps over previous years.
yeah, I would agree that it used to be just, yeah, as you say, franchise films or films from certain directors. I think there's a lot more voices out there now. There's a lot more films that have been highlighted in different areas, different awards, festivals, film festivals, and award ceremonies, um, rather than just Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I think, so which can only be a good thing. I think I've seen films that probably wouldn't have seen otherwise from directors I wouldn't have heard of otherwise
Yeah.
in previous years. So
Feels like this year as well, like some of the recent streamers like Apple TV have come up with some good stuff this year.
yeah, I think so, and I think some of the like Netflix, they've made some terrible films,
Hmm.
but I think now rather than just focusing on the ones they make, they acquire some good ones as well from
Yeah,
other places.
yeah, they do.
Some a better quality of film, or say a well-made film that they showcase. So,
Yeah. I mean, two of my favorite, or two of the films I really like this year, I ended up seeing on Disney Plus for the first time because that's where
okay,
they arrived, you know. So it's yeah, I think streamers have really got into the game a lot more this year.
yeah, and I think that'll only continue on it. There's more and more like there's Paramount's come out, Lionsgate's come out, and so I think,
It's a bit
which is a
hard to
bit
manage, though,
annoying.
isn't it?
Pardon?
It's a bit hard to manage. It's a shame you can't bundle, like get the ultimate streaming bundle where you just pay slightly less.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like 43 subscriptions, depends on the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it'll reach a point eventually where it has to simplify.
Yeah, I mean, I still collect Blu-rays so on DVDs, so you can pick them up cheap now. So I don't know if it's cheaper than a subscription, but I still
So,
have all the subscriptions anyway.
what would you say this year? Let's start with the negative. What films this year have you been, I guess, first of all, disappointed by, but second of all, have just been a bit, you just say that it's a terrible film. Wish I hadn't seen it.
Well, the one I was most disappointed with was The Northman.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted it to be so much better. It was just like a trippy episode of Vikings for me. Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, it was set up good premise, and then it just got weirder and weirder
It
all the
did
way
get
through. And
very
I know
weird.
some of that's about mythology and Valhalla and this, that, and the other, but yeah, I was like,
It was a
didn't get it.
beautiful film to look at, though. I mean,
Oh, aesthetically, it was brilliant. That's what I'm saying. And the cast, there was a good, strong cast in there. There was, yeah, so it set up well. It was a good premise, a revenge story. Who doesn't love a revenge story with blood and axes? But it just, for me, it got silly quickly and then kept getting sillier.
I mean, when you see him go down with his dad into that underneath the
Yeah,
what the temple thing is, and they're barking like dogs,
yeah,
there is a point where you're thinking, "What am I watching?"
yeah. And then they're floating about and stuff, and you're going to get hallucinogens and stuff. I get it, but it just got sillier. And then the bit where we're supposed, and this sword, this mythical sword, and the witchcraft and stuff. And sorry if you haven't
But
seen it,
but that
spoilers.
I thought of that as like the way the story would have been told, because you saw the whole fight thing, and then you saw him just take it. There's the story versus
Yeah,
what really happened in a sense.
yeah, maybe. And then the whole bit, you say if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, don't listen to me. Um, but the bit where he went into a thing, chopped about 8 people up and rearranged them on the outside, and no one saw or heard anything. It's like, come on. So, so
Well,
yeah, I
with
was
a
most
magic sword.
disappointed with that because it was one of the ones I was most looking forward to.
Oh, that's a shame because I really enjoyed the Northman, but I did see it on the big screen first time, and there was something about it on the big screen. I mean, it felt like the film was shouting at you the whole time.
Yeah, it did feel like it's screaming in your face.
Yeah, which
Um,
when I watched it again on streaming afterwards, I have to admit the impact's less. It is
hmm.
less.
Yeah, so I was so looking forward to it, but yeah, it just didn't meet my expectations really. So
Okay.
that was the one I was most disappointed with.
Mhm.
The two that were rubbish go slightly down. So there was one called, I don't know, was it on Netflix? Maybe Lou. Did you see Lou? So it was about this old woman that gets caught up with her neighbor, and um, her daughter gets taken by her ex-husband, and then this Lou, intervenes, and there's all these twists and turns that you see coming a mile off. Um, and it just descends into a bit of chaos. It's a bit like, I don't know, Gran Torino meets John Wick. But again, the premise was very good. It looked quite good, but it descended into farce, really.
Because when you say Gran Torino meets John Wick, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so it's like this grumpy, isolated neighbor, old woman thing, and then someone needs help, and she's got a certain set of skills that nobody knows about, and you put in, you're like, ooh, what's it? And then and you go, right, I can just about handle this, and then the dynamic shifts, and it's just like, you didn't need to do that. It just makes everything weird. Um, so, and then one that I didn't like, but um, I probably should have known it would be rubbish. It looked rubbish. Was called Dog with Channing Tatum.
Oh yeah, that was that. Did he direct that?
I think so. And he had to take the dog back across this dog that's an army dog, a ranger, I think it is, and then has to take it to its handler's funeral. And this dog's got post PTSD or something, so it's about their bonding, and it just, I don't know, just a bit silly. But I thought it could have been a really endearing story and really nice, and it's again just got stupid in some of the scenes, and it's like so.
So those are your negatives from this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a few others, but not worth mentioning that they were as I expected, or um, probably maybe even slightly better than I expected. So, what about you?
I think the biggest disappointment, if we're talking disappointments this year, is two films. I think one was Jurassic World.
Okay.
I mean, did you see that?
No, I refuse to watch it
I mean,
because it got so bad. I'm just like, I'm not putting
yeah.
myself through it.
I mean, I knew it was going to be bad, but the trailer gave me some hope, I think. And it's my fault for allowing hope to find its way in, I suppose. In the first couple of minutes of the film, you get to see this. The world has dinosaurs everywhere in it. How they managed to get across the whole world so fast, I couldn't tell you. But they were everywhere. And after a little bit of it, that's an interesting concept for a film. Let's see how that goes. And then they all end up, instead of on an island, in the middle of the jungle where you can't get away and it's isolated as well, and they're trapped in one look. And it's like, hang on, that's not the film I wanted to see. I wanted to see the first few minutes of this film, and it drops the ball so much. And then it doesn't even care about the dinosaurs. It's about genetically engineered locusts. And it was such, when you think where we moved, where from the first Jurassic Park to where that one ended up, I mean, it's such a disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, I feel totally justified. I mean, I think I mean, I just got onto it, maybe even probably two films too late. That this is just not pulling it back.
No.
The same with I did it with the Fast and the Furious. I jumped out with that at 4, I think, because it was just
Mm.
getting bad. And then I think it's 10 is there, and then what was the other one? Home Alone. I stopped after 2 because when they lost the main players, I was like, yeah. So and I felt just about. I mean, I've seen them, but I've
Yeah, I
seen
mean,
them
bringing back the original
knowing they'd
cast
be
for
rubbish.
Jurassic Park, you think would be good.
Bring them back, what?
Bringing back the original cast,
Yeah, I
they're
think
brilliant,
it
but
had gone too far.
doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. It's a
No,
terrible film, but not my bottom film of the year. Just my biggest disappointment. My other disappointment was Disenchanted,
you were disenchanted with
the
it.
sequel to Enchanted,
Yeah, yeah.
which I loved. Enchanted, great film, great concept. One of those ones I didn't fancy watching, but thoroughly enjoyed. And it seems to have fundamentally misunderstood what was good about the first one. Just every decision they make, it's like, oh no, why make that one? Why that? And it just every single bit of it fell flat for me. The spark between I can't remember the names, but the two main characters in it. Well, let's separate them for the whole film. Or
Mm.
is it James Marsden, who was in as the sort of, the buffoonish, over the top hero kind of? He was great fun in the first film. I tell you what, let's have him arrive for a little bit, but then never use him again.
Mm.
It's just, I do not understand what they were, why any of those decisions were made. But it was a huge, huge disappointment, that film. And I was looking forward to that one as well. That's the trouble with those two. I was looking forward to them both.
And that was on Disney, wasn't it? I don't think it got good reviews either. So I think you're not
No,
on your own with that.
no. But the worst film of the year in my mind is the remake of Pinocchio.
Yeah, you hated it, didn't you?
Oh, I despised
Who
it.
is it? Benicio del Toro, is it?
No, Benicio del Toro is one I haven't seen, but it looks really good. That's all
Yeah, it
stop
does.
motion. This is Robert Zemeckis,
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
and it is. Oh, it. I think now I'm officially tapping out on Disney remakes. I'm not going to watch anymore. Can't.
Really?
Can't do it anymore. That film broke me.
I watched Jungle Book again over Christmas because it was on, and I loved it.
Jungle Book's okay, but have you seen Pinocchio?
The live action version.
The Robert Zemeckis one.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. It's so. First of all, it misunderstands the whole point of Pinocchio. The whole point of Pinocchio is that he's naughty. He
Hmm.
doesn't listen to his conscience. He gets himself into scrapes. And then he learns to be good. Yeah, that's the idea. It's a morality tale. This one, excuse every single time. He's just a victim of circumstance. He didn't know better. He's following a lot. It excuses his naughtiness every single time, and then there's no journey for him. All he does is get from one script to the other, but it's not his fault. He doesn't not listen to his conscience. He loses him. You know,
Mm.
it's just it totally. There's about 2 minutes in that film where he's smelling a horse poo in the street for no reason. It's very well animated horse poo, but
Mm.
it's terrible.
But with their other live action um, adaptations, they've more or less used the same script.
Yeah. Now
Have they not?
Pinocchio is quite short, I guess, the original one.
Yeah. So they've
Um,
not. They've enhanced it, or
yeah,
added to it.
yeah, but yeah, he's supposed to be a naughty boy who gets himself into trouble and learns not to be a naughty boy. This was he's just misled all the time, and it just it's I don't understand how somebody as good as Robert Zemeckis could have made that film. And somebody as good as Tom Hanks could be in it.
Was he no good in it?
Oh no, terrible, absolutely. Take his accent from Elvis, which is kind of fun, and then times it by 1,000.
Hmm.
The trouble is, though, he hasn't got anyone to act off. He's
No.
essentially we call it live action. He's the only live action thing in it, apart from the odd character. But he doesn't interact with anyone. His work probably involved him turning up for a week and talking to a golf ball. It's very strange, very strange. But it's completely put me off wanting to watch any more Disney remakes.
Oh, I watched Aladdin as well. I've watched a couple of them. So that's the first one that's been bad in it. I haven't seen Mulan. I didn't like the cartoon, so I
Oh,
wasn't going to watch.
I quite like Mulan.
I didn't like the cartoon of Mulan, so.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast was neither in there for me. I mean, it looked good, but but
Beauty and the
the
Beast,
Little Mermaid's next, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. Beauty and the Beast was kind of like, it was so similar to the original, apart from one extra song. What was the
Yeah.
point?
Mm.
But yeah, I just feel like I've been disappointed too many times now.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So if you're watching Disney,
You've
Luke's
hurt me,
not a
Disney.
fan.
You've hurt me to the core.
Do better. So when's Del Toro's Pinocchio out? That's this year, isn't it?
I think that's out now on Netflix, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We just
Mm,
haven't got around to it yet.
yeah. You wait years for one Pinocchio live action film and then two come along at once.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Right, so let's go on to some positives then. Like, what positives have you got for us?
Okay, let's we're not going to necessarily do these in order, are we?
No, no, just
Um,
films that we've seen throughout 2022 that we really enjoyed.
although I'm going to come in hot with the film that I liked most.
Okay,
The
I'm going to
film of
see
the
if I
year.
can guess what that is.
Go on then. Yeah, see if you can guess.
Um, maybe I'll be right, maybe I'll be wrong, but we don't know.
Are you writing it down?
I am writing it down. I'm putting a square, a rectangle around it just in case.
Okay. Right. It is the Banshees of Inisherin.
No, I got that wrong. I put the Batman.
Oh well, I did like that a lot, but no, film
No,
of the
I'm
year
glad
for
you saw
me.
that because the Banshees of Sharon. I'm not sure how I feel about it still.
Really, I mean, it's a hard film to watch.
Yeah, and I think it is. You can tell me what you think in a minute, but I'm just going right. I read all these reviews that were really positive,
Hmm.
and I was like, yes, that's everything I hoped it would be, especially after In Bruges and stuff like this. And then I watched it, and there was some definite funny bits. There was some definite other bits, of you know dilemma and sadness. And then I was like, I still don't know how I feel about it. So tell me what it is you liked about it.
Well, I liked that the film made me. I mean, it made me feel. I think every emotion possible during the course of watching it. I laughed plenty. There's some really funny
There's
moments in it.
so funny bits in there.
There's some terribly sad moments in it.
Hmm.
There's moments where, especially when you're getting older, you kind of because it's Brendan Gleeson's character getting older, you're thinking he hasn't achieved anything in life and is wanting to make a mark. I kind of you get that, don't you? And you feel that.
Hmm.
Um, but also the despair of it all and the bleakness of it all, and that leaves you on a pretty negative note, really, doesn't it?
Hmm.
In the
Yeah,
end,
it's not the resolution you would want, is it?
no, you come away going, yeah, you come away feeling a bit down. But I appreciated that. I thought the performances in it were all great. The whole
Oh, they were
story,
excellent, and it looked stunning.
yeah. Who's the guy who played the simple-minded one, or who? But it wasn't really that simple.
No, he was troubled, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
No, I can't remember his name either. But I thought he was excellent. Really, really good performance by him. What's his name? It's Barry Keoghan.
Hmm.
But the resolution of his part of the story just made me so sad.
Hmm.
I just thought I don't think because for me a film has to make me feel something.
Yeah, of course, and that's what we talked about in our last podcast 3 months ago.
Yeah, but I don't think I felt more than a variety of emotions in any other film this year.
No,
So I think
no,
that's
I think that's fair. I think the only
my
film that
favorite.
ever has done more to me was A Man Called Ove, which has been remade and is out tomorrow. Actually, A Man Called Otto. The
Yeah.
Americans have again remade a film that did not need remaking and ignored the countless ones that did. But yeah, and so I get that. I think my questions about it were, and so it's not a negative. Well, it's just a bit like I could have done with more context about their friendship beforehand
Yeah. Yeah. I
because they've
mean,
lived in the
it's all
village for that
implied, isn't
long.
it?
And how did Colm come to the conclusion that this was his only option with his ultimatum? It's
Hmm.
like, just leave. You and your sister go. And then everyone's happy. And then,
Yeah.
the ultimate, it just got dark pretty quick.
It
So,
did, but I think he was more the simple-minded one than anybody else. I mean,
yeah,
and the idea of, I mean, it's such an insult to say, "Why don't you want to spend time with me?" It's because you're dull, and
yeah.
I've got no room for dullness in my life. It's such a harsh thing to say to someone. Um, what do you do with that? I mean, it's a horrible thing to hear about yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm still, it was about 10 days ago now, I watched it, or something like that. Just before Christmas, actually, I think. And I'm still trying to understand how I felt about it. But I did feel a lot. The laughter was definitely there. The emotion was definitely there. Just not sure how pleased I am with the resolution. It was a bit of a slow burn.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
It did leave me a bit with going, well, what was the point of it all? Um, so, but
Yeah, but that's an interesting way to come out of a film. Going, "Ah, what is the point of it? What's the point of life?"
I didn't say what's the point of film. But yeah, okay, that's a good shout.
What other films were significant for you this year?
Well, I think The Batman was probably my favorite film of the year.
Yeah, the Batman made number three for me, although I think it probably should have been number two.
And this is quite a statement when I railed against it so much, saying it
Mm,
didn't need to be made. The
yeah,
Dark Knight has done this. There's other superheroes that need more attention. Superman, for instance. Although,
you were flat out against it, weren't you?
absolutely. But I think what it did and the place that it fits in the story, the dark edginess to it, I like because one of the things I liked most about the Dark Knight was that it was a bit like if superhero movies were real or Batman, what would it look like? And that came close, and I still really hold them highly. But I think this was a bit more so. It took like the Penguin wasn't some, you know, fella who fell into a vat of penguins or whatever and waddled about. He was a gangster that was scarred up, and they just give him a name because of the way that he walked. Or do you know what I mean? And so they were all, you know, the Riddler wasn't just some bouncing around in a green suit, a stupid Jim Carrey kind of thing. It was, um, a disturbed serial killer sort of effect, but with a political message and a statement and agenda. So yeah, so I like that. And same with the style of the Joker. There was a realism to it. So yeah, so I liked it. I just thought it was really good. The scenes were good. The acting was good. I could have done without Catwoman, but she seems to be in them all now. So
Yeah, yeah,
but
I
I
thought that
really
was very
loved it.
good, very good film.
So that was a significant one for me. Secondly, probably All Quiet on the Western Front was one I've written down.
I didn't see that.
So it's on Netflix now. It's like it's like what it's a good war film, about World War One.
Hmm.
That is harrowing. It's violent. It's extreme. It's gritty. It's superbly shot. I think the most significant thing for me was that it was taken from a German perspective,
All right,
and
okay.
as much as you know it, it's like right. Most of the war films I've ever seen have been from an Allied perspective, particularly about World War One and World War Two. Whereas this is like it brings a humanity to the German soldiers because sometimes we just picture the regime and the different things that are going throughout that period of time, both world wars really, that you're like, oh, they're the enemy, they got it all wrong. But it was just young lads, do you know what I mean, that were buying into what they were being sold. This
Yeah,
propaganda, wanted patriotism and a national pride and wanted to defend their country and do their bit, the social pressure and not wanting to, serve your country. And, there were still 15, 16, 17-year-olds leaving their families. And I saw that in a more real way this time. That I had a greater sense of empathy that they were victims as much, not their governments and the regimes, but them people on the front line. Yeah, so it's wonderfully shot. It's a bit, yeah, it's up there with 1917 and the other ones, I think, in terms of quality.
yeah.
It's on Netflix now, but yeah, it's good.
I'll have to give that a try. I, I do like when people dig into the whole war's not as simple as sometimes we make it in films, is it? You know,
No,
there's real people on both sides.
yeah. And I say it was one of the things I was going, I wonder what this will be like from the other side, whether they just paint. And my first thing was, I hope they don't just paint all the British out to be horrible, butchers and like. But we do that, so it was just like that.
Yeah,
Where are my prejudices in this, and how much of my viewpoint is because of where I was born and what I was taught, and
yeah,
then say the realization that they were all just young men just sent to the slaughter for decisions they didn't make. So So yeah, it really brought that home. But again, it's well shot. It brings to reality the horrors of war generally. It's graphic, it's violent, it's disturbing in times. There's relationships that are there. So yeah, it was I found it quite profound, really.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's. I look for. I'll add that to my watch list.
Mm.
That'll be good. Um, All Quiet on the Western Front. You say it's on Netflix?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I'll seek that one out.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's on Netflix. I'm sure that's why I watched it. I watched it on the streaming service. Pretty sure it was Netflix.
Did you see Elvis this year?
Yeah,
What was your thoughts on that one? That's up there for me.
yeah. I thought it was a superbly made film that probably showed me bits about Elvis's life that I didn't know. And we said this before for a biopic, whichever was the right word to say. Yeah, I thought it was quality. So the particular focus on Hanks's character
Mm,
and the part he played, I thought was really enlightening and really um, something I had not give thought to before. Really, I was unaware of.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, that was very good. It was very style, and yeah, because I'm not a fan of Elvis, but I came away with a great appreciation of him afterwards.
yeah, well, it's like he's an iconic figure, and I like some of his music, but he's so iconic that it's good to see that because when you're our generation, our family would have known and realised this or saw this happening and learned things about him. But for us, it's just this guy that sang some good songs and was popular. But
Mhm.
then it brings the human side to that.
Yeah,
I guess the origin story.
yeah, and it did feel a little bit like a hero's origin story at the start, didn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very good. What other highlights have you got this year?
Um, 13 Lives I liked.
Very good, very
I thought
good.
that was excellent. Even especially when you know the story that you sat there tense. And then the bit about, and we talked about that, where they effectively, and there shouldn't be any spoilers now, but where they got these boys out, and it's like, how did they get them out there? And it's like, they anaesthetized them.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It was like, what? And then it shows you the whole getting to that decision and what a risk it was. But that's how they got them out of there. They saved these lives. And yeah, and it was tense all the way throughout, even though I knew it turned out all right in the end.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
largely all right. Can't forget there was a victim.
I'm quite claustrophobic, so it got to
Oh,
me.
it was, yeah, it was horrifying.
Yeah.
Uh, but again, a credit to the film that it makes you feel as though you're in that tunnel.
Oh, absolutely
So
does. Yeah.
so I really, really like that. Yeah, so that would be in my worthy mentions of films from 2022.
Coda, I think, is quite up there for me. Was that
Yeah,
this
I
year?
love. I
That was
don't
this year.
know. I didn't put it in my list because I thought it was the year before, but
Hold on. I thought it was this year, but maybe it wasn't.
it might have been.
Oh no, 2021 officially, I guess. I saw it this year.
All right, but I loved it anyway. It was really funny and really inspiring.
Yeah, yeah, that was it was a big highlight for me because it was one I wasn't expecting to enjoy.
Mm. Yeah, I really enjoyed Coda, whether it was this year or last year, but I loved it. I think Kate put me onto. She was going on at me to watch it for ages. I was like, oh, how good can this be? And afterwards, I was like, that was amazing. She was like, you're not the only one who knows about film.
Did you see Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I didn't, and it's one that I really want to see because apparently it's really good.
I really enjoyed that. I mean, I think it got probably more positiveness than I felt. I mean, but I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a significant film of the year anyway. And a lot of fun.
Mm.
A lot of fun. I thought
Yeah,
it outstays its welcome.
but yeah, it's one of them ones that it sounds weird to me, so it doesn't really grip me. And even the trailer, I'm like, is this something I want to watch? But it's one of them ones that you usually find yourself enjoying more because you're not sure what it is.
It's always different in context, isn't it? When it explains to you where to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, I get it now. Once you get it,
yeah,
it's yeah, that's a fun one. Another highlight for me this year, which is actually number 4 for me, was Licorice Pizza.
yeah. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No, I just didn't get the hype about it. I thought it was nicey, but I just didn't like them really.
Yeah, I mean they weren't the nicest people, I suppose.
No.
But it was this sort of this quirky look at some odd people. I quite enjoyed it in that respect.
Yeah, I was just a bit like, I'm not supposed to be caring about these.
It is a strange one because strictly speaking, you shouldn't be willing for them to get together because it's not appropriate.
No.
And the film doesn't go that way, but it's very yeah, it is an odd film. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
I think Kate enjoyed it, but I just was. I guess I saw what it was trying to do, but it's all about taste, isn't it, and different things.
Yeah, yeah. Craziest film of this year for me was Ambulance.
Yeah.
Did you see that one?
No, I remember you talking about it. Though.
That's insane. It's worth watching. It's worth watching when you're in the mood for it, though.
Mm.
You have to be in the mood for silly and lots of smashing of things. Um, Belfast was this year, I think.
Was it?
Oh, have I got another one in the wrong year? I saw Belfast this year. I'm sure I did. It says 2021, but I'm sure that came out this year. Here.
Yeah, I'd have had it as last year. I think I saw it just before Christmas last year.
All right, I probably saw it in January then, in that case.
Yeah, the release date was 2nd of September 2021.
Yeah.
So that would have been right on my list. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Here's Luke. Greece, that was out this year.
What was? Greece.
Greece. What do you keep doing? Last century or something.
I'm wondering how some of these have made it on my list. I definitely saw them this year.
I watched a film called The Swimmers. I only watched it yesterday.
Right.
And that's again is on Netflix. It's about two sisters from Syria that flee the bombing from the Russians in 2016, was it? To try and travel to Europe. And that both swimmers, they both swim and they've got dreams of making the Olympic team for Syria. But it's about their journey mainly to get to Europe, to get to safety. And then their plan is when they get there, they'll apply for family reunion and their family will come across. But it's really, again, it's one of the things that you see on the news and stuff, but it really brings into sharp focus the challenges that face these people crossing the rivers, how they get exploited, how people take advantage of them, the dangers that are there, and even when they arrive, all the challenges they face when they arrive at a place of safety. So, yeah, it was good, and the inspirational story of them as individuals and their well, particularly one of them, her pursuit of her dreams. So yeah, I just found it really, and it's based on a true story, and it's just really was inspirational. Really had a good message or a good insight into the refugee crisis from around the world, and yeah, it was superbly made as well. And I would never have heard of it if Netflix hadn't picked it up.
Is that on Netflix? Yeah, I've never heard of it. Never come across it.
Yeah, I only watched it last night. I'd seen the trailer before and thought that looks all right. That and yeah, so
Have you watched Glass Onion?
no, I'm saving that. I'm going to watch Knives Out again and then watch Glass Onion.
Yeah. We'll save talking about that one until you've seen it.
All right, was it good though?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't.
Was it better?
Hmm.
Because I like
There's a
Knives
lot of
Out.
people have said it's better than Knives Out. I don't think it's better than Knives Out, but I don't think it's quite as good as Knives Out. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. It's been on my list for a while, but we're just trying to find a time that Kate and I can watch it.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed that one. I thought it was good fun. Any other highlights this year for you?
Yes, well, there's two. One, well, so the one I'll talk about, but I'll mention three others first that I thought Prey was good.
Prayer was
I
brilliant.
thought Spirited was good after the first 10 minutes when I figured out what was going on. I thought, yeah, it was an interesting thing. Jerry and Marge Go Large was entertaining.
That was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
But the first one that was surprising, it was really good, was Hustle with Adam Sandler.
Hustle. Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I'm not sure because Adam Sandler's just usually a bit shouty or silly, and this was excellent. It was his best performance, I think, career best performance. Just really enjoyed it.
Was it one of those films that make you feel good as well?
Yeah, about a basketball scout. So yeah, it was really good, and especially when he'd been stitched up so much. And then probably got to talk about Top Gun Maverick.
Yes, we do have to talk about Top Gun Maverick.
So as I think I said at the time, so is it an amazing film? I don't think so. It's a bit silly, it's a bit cliched, it's a bit cheesy, but that's exactly what it sets out to be. So it's pure Top Gun. So for entertainment, it's top class. As a film, is it not really? It's just totally unbelievable. Nonsense, wibble, but that's what you go to see when you go see a Top Gun film or when you watch the original Top Gun. So you get everything you want from it. But it's like saying, like, I like a Big Mac. Is a Big Mac a great meal? A Big Mac meal a great meal? Not really, but I love it. But compared to, a steak dinner, it's not the same.
No.
But it is exactly what you want at the time. Sometimes you just want a Big Mac. So, but comparing it to other films that are, I mean, the combat sequences are excellent, but compared to other films with decent plots and better acting and less cheesiness, no. But sometimes you just want a bit of cheese done.
I mean, I rewatched Top Gun night before last, 2 nights ago.
The original or Maverick?
The Maverick one, sorry. I hadn't seen it since we'd only seen it once at the cinema. So
yeah, I've only seen it once.
And it's corny, and you don't have to work very hard when you're watching it. It explains everything that's going on very clearly. You can be, you don't have. It's not a hard film to follow. It explains the combat mission several times. You know exactly what's going on. And every time there's something significant, you get that Top Gun bong, that noise, and it's corny, but I did not have a good time.
Yeah, and that's it. You do, but it's just like the whole. I don't know.
There's something about as well the fact that they did the combat in real planes.
Yeah, absolutely,
really up there. Nothing felt fake, and some of it might have been faked, but there's something about watching something when your brain knows it's real or something. It's like we can tell the difference, and it's that much more exhilarating because you're like, that's real. They're really in the sky there.
But I don't know, right? Whether I struggle to like Tom Cruise, or I struggle to like every single character that Tom Cruise plays, because they're always. Either he is arrogant and smarmy, or his characters are. Because even in this, it's just like
I think it might be both.
Yeah. So even like I watched War of the Worlds the other night, and he's horrible in that. And then in this, it's always a bit indulgent. Oh, I'm going to get some shots of me on my motorbike, and then I'll be running really fast somewhere, and my aviator glasses, and it's just like, and like when he goes, "Oh, we're going to Mach 10." Right, not 10.1 or 10. You just know that that's what he's going to do. And I'm hoping the plane falls to bits. I'm like, yeah, you serves you right. You were told not to. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. The only bit that I didn't like, as we talked about before, is where they go and steal a plane. It's like something off a cartoon or something.
It's, yeah. But
good, lot of fun. But it was certainly significant. I think it was the highest grossing film of the year, I think, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah. And who'd have thought Top Gun would have been the highest grossing film of the year this year in today's age? But yeah, it was. Any other positives for you?
No, I mean a load. I mean, again, mainly I'm either catching up or watching films that I've missed or rewatching films. So I think I watched 112 films last year, which is not a huge amount in comparison to other years. So yeah, I only watched about 18 films from 2022, apart from cheesy Christmas films, which I'm not going to talk about any of them. Apart from Spirited, which I thought was worth a mention.
Yeah, Spirited. It was refreshing. It was fun, and it made me think, why have Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell not worked together before?
Yeah, but it was different. At first, I was like, "What's going on here?" But once I got to grips with what was happening, I thought it was a really good take and really interesting and funny.
Yeah,
great cast as well.
Yeah, very good. So I think we've hit everything that we like this year, haven't we? There. Oh, we've missed one huge film off.
What's that?
Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, you liked it, didn't you? I haven't seen it yet.
I really enjoyed it. I think I giggled the whole way through. It's the I think it's the successor to Roger Rabbit in every way.
Yeah, yeah. It sounded interesting when you described the plot and stuff. So
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's worth a watch anyway. Worth a watch. So I think that is 2022 done.
yeah, and keep your eyes out because we will be coming back soon with new shows, new content, new way of doing things. Um, yeah, where we discuss various different aspects of films. So yeah, we look forward to being with you again soon.
Yep, we hope that you have a great year ahead and that you watch many, many good films this year.
Absolutely, and if you do, let us know.
Yes. Wonderful. We'll see you again next time.
See you soon.